we're here today with a gentleman who I'm sure everyone who's watching this video will know pretty well here in West Australian cycling. I'm here with Stephen Hall. Stephen Hall is our carryover champion, or the winner of the 2016-17 Ring Series. Steve, it's great to have you along. Really appreciate your time to come and have a chat. Couple of things this year: 2017 National Track Teams Pursuit Champion.
Yep.
State Criterium champion, state road champion.
Yep.
It's been a pretty big year for you.
Absolutely. It started off with the national championship, and that was the culmination of a lot of years of hard work. I've been second, I've been third, and then this year we just had the perfect team come together for that team pursuit and ride a championship record time. I was on the track with 3 world champions, so just to be able to pull it all together and become an Australian champion was huge. And then back racing within WA to win both the Criterium and the road championship in the same year were big goals for me. So to tick all 3 off was a very successful year.
Yeah, look, it's been a big year, there's no doubt about it. One thing that I sort of spoke to you a little bit earlier about too was, you've got 3 different disciplines, riding obviously such a dedicated track event, and then obviously you're riding the state Criterium and road. How do you prepare yourself for what are 3 sort of completely different disciplines?
They do blend into each other a little bit, but it's also, I set the goals at the start of the year and I structure my training to suit that particular event. So the track is probably the hardest to prepare for because it's so, you can't fake it. You could get through a road race just being fit, or these other kind of things. With the track is you have to spend a lot of time on the track. And there's a lot of technique and all these things that kind of need to be worked on. So once the track is done, then I move on to the Criterium, which isn't all that different in terms of the intensity and stuff like that. It's obviously a little bit longer. And then the road race is even longer again. You want to make sure that you've got plenty of Ks in the legs. So you can't just rock up and do any one. You need to prepare for it. And luckily there's normally enough time where I can put myself in a position that I'm in good form to contend these titles.
Yeah, look, I know when you came back from your time overseas, and you were discussing whether you're going to ride the road champs, the road champs up in York, and
Yep.
we discussed the course and that type of thing. And I know you probably had a few concerns going in, but seemed to work out on the day pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always want to make sure that I'm definitely prepared. So I'd spent a lot of time traveling and racing overseas, and I knew that the state road race was a pretty testing course, even though I'd never raced on it before. So although I'd done so many race days while I was away, the last couple of weeks before I came home was a little bit relaxed. So whenever I race, I want to always make sure that I'm in good form. Otherwise, I wouldn't rock up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I definitely wanted to prepare well, and the course suited me. So I was happy with that result.
Talking of being away as well, so you spent a lot of your time. Obviously you spent summer here, carryover champion, obviously through the Ring Series. So that's been a great summer series for you. I know you go to Tasmania and do the track circuit as well. Where do you go from there? So you leave WA. What did your year this year look like?
So I left, we started off with Tasmania, the Australian Championships. Then after that, then I spent probably a month and a half preparing on the road. From there I went to Europe, spent 6 weeks racing predominantly in Belgium. And then from there, 4 months in the US, Criteriums, road, track, anything I could get my hands on. And then I finished off with going back to Europe and did a couple of races there, and finally actually went to Japan before I came home. So I hit
Pretty busy.
three continents and did plenty of racing, a lot of exciting racing as well. So.
Yeah, look, we all saw a fair whack of exposure, I suppose. You had a great year in the US.
Yeah.
Anything particular that really stood out for you amongst those wins?
Winning in Central Park in New York was pretty unique. We raced at 5:30 in the morning, which is pretty crazy. That was one that stuck out. Winning Rider of the Year in T-Town.
Yeah,
I'd been second a couple of years in a row, so just to win that was huge for me. And also racing in Japan, something a little bit different. I love racing in Asia, and the opportunity came up, and I took it with both hands. So that were definitely 3 that stuck out.
You've done some earlier racing in Asia before, haven't you? In
raced,
some earlier years?
Yeah, I won a stage of Tour of Thailand a few years ago. I've raced quite a few track events there. So I think that's definitely that I look forward to. Something later on in my career is probably maybe doing a full season in Asia.
Yeah, excellent. So we're here obviously to talk about the Ring Series as well. We're kicking off on the 10th of December. So our first event is up in the Nangara course, followed by Tech Park on the 17th.
Yep.
You're the carryover champion. Tell us a little bit about what you think, what the Ring means to you personally, and how you see it looking forward.
I was absolutely thrilled with how the series panned out last year. Having so much regular racing and a consistent calendar is integral for me personally for preparing for the Australian Championships and for these bigger events, is being able to race that frequently. And also, I'm a huge fan of just racing in general. I think you don't learn that much from training. If you can race as much as you can, I'm all about it. So it was a great series. We raced consistently on different courses. In the past, some people, we maybe just stick to one course or whatever. I think it's good that as a bike rider, you learn to race different conditions and all these kind of things. So I think that's important for the young guys coming up, that they can adapt to different courses. And some people might like one more than the other, but you don't always get to choose where you race. So
No.
I was thrilled with how the Ring Series panned out.
It's for us this year, when we sort of debriefed, I suppose, on what we did through 16-17, looked at what what the future held for 2017-18. The increase or the ability to add a couple more super crits, or to add the super crits. Last year, Leaderville was an encore, so to speak. This year, it's part of the series. Obviously those exciting courses and that type of thing are going to be a big part of what we're doing this year. So that must be exciting for the riders as well.
Absolutely, racing in front of a big crowd that's a lot of what we're doing in the US, and it's really exciting to have the same thing back home. Racing like these twilight kind of events or anywhere where there's a crowd is really what gets bike riders excited, and we want to put on a good show as well as trying to win the race. So when you have plenty of people enjoying the races, we feed off of that energy, and we really enjoy those kind of environments.
Yeah, I think the concept for cycling, and not only nationally but in WA, is how do we get the excitement back, and how do we bring more punters, so to speak, along to witness it and to experience it. So I think that those super crit courses are really important. The format, we're basically running over a series over 10 events. Out of those sort of style of events, and you've looked at Nangara, Tech Park, new event down in Bunbury this year, Pemberton will also be part of it. Is there anything that you're sort of looking forward to? Is there a particular event that, or a particular course that suits your style?
I haven't raced in Pemberton for a long time. It's normally falls on my birthday weekend, so I've normally given it a miss, but I will be there this year. I haven't raced it since I was a junior, I think, so I'm really looking forward to going back to that. I love Tech Park. I love all these different courses, and for me, even the ones that I might not necessarily like, it's a challenge, so I enjoy that part of it. I don't think there's any of the courses that I don't believe I can win on, so I'm excited by that challenge.
The other thing too that we're looking at, and again, I know I had this conversation with you, but development of riders and development of juniors coming through on these exciting courses and mixing it up a bit, that's obviously got to be a positive.
For sure, I rocked up at a few of the races a little bit early and watched the end of the B grade, and they were exciting finishes, and you have that really good mix where you have young guys coming up and some older guys that are still competing at a high level, and that's what makes the B grade field very exciting. And I look at that and thinking it's not going to be too long before some of these guys move into A. And just the sheer number, I think there was several times that B grade was completely full, and that's really exciting to see, especially for the future of WA cycling.
Yeah, look, I think so just on that too, some of those grades of B, Cs and Ds, they do fill up pretty quickly. So what we're doing is we're actually holding our registrations open to the Thursday evening before the event. So if you are thinking about getting in, you've got to get in quick, because we do have restrictions to our numbers, and obviously that's a really important thing. This year as well, Steve, we've added the points system in for the clubs as well. So I reckon that'll be a bit of fun. Everyone not only racing for themselves, but also racing for their registered club as well.
I think that's interesting as well, because a lot of the times you're noticing what team they're wearing, but there's also a deep sense of pride with what club you belong to and things like that as well. So I think that's bringing a little bit of excitement back, and create some friendly rivalry between some of the clubs, and see which club comes out on top. So.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some really interesting results coming out there. So the concept of that is every event on the day, so 10 events, each individual event will be awarded 5 points for the win, down to 1 point for fifth. So obviously there's a chance where a club can earn 50 points a weekend. So that's going to be fun there too. Who's your main threat? Who are you looking forward to racing against this year, and who do you think is going to be one of the riders to push you?
I'm a little bit different. I like and I'm excited by any time that any of the Pro Tour guys rock up. If they're better than me on the day, they're better than me today. I'd rather verse the best guys that we've got. So any time that Cam pins a number on Durbridge, Freeburg, and I have a good rivalry. I think we're 1-1 at the moment. So I like Freeburg a lot, but I enjoy racing with him. Anytime AJ shows up, he's always dangerous. So. And then you've got the two young boys, Jai and Stora, stepping up to Sunweb. If they rock up to any of the crits, I enjoy racing with guys like that. So I'm always looking for the best competition that WA can put together. And I like to challenge myself against these guys.
The really exciting part about everything that you just mentioned there is we actually have spoken to all of those guys, and we're going to see Anthony Giacopo out there. We're going to see Michael Freeberg. I know you guys had a great tussle at the Peter Clark Memorial last weekend. We have obviously Ben O'Connor. Looking forward to having Ben back out there. If Cam comes along, it'll be absolutely fantastic. So look, really exciting racing. What do you I didn't want everyone to sort of divert too far off what we're talking about with the ring, but where do you see WA cycling at the moment versus maybe where it's been and also where it's heading?
I think there was a few years not so long ago where it was getting really quiet during the winter months, and a lot of bike riders were going overseas and going other places purely just to find more racing, because it became a situation where there was months without a single race. So while I was always gone, I kept an eye on what was happening with the Element series and just chatting to guys out on the road, and that's really rejuvenated the sport, I think, and keep races on the calendar and keep guys on their bikes, especially during the winter months, is so important. So with the trajectory of how it's going with the Criterium series and with the Element, I think that's going to close the gap between definitely with Melbourne. They've got plenty of races and stuff like that, and also the other countries where they're racing up to a couple of times a week. I think that's become a reality for Perth, and I think we're going to see the trend of more and more racing, and as a bike rider, that's all we can ask for.
Yeah, look, I think that's the goal at the moment, is to give our members and give everyone opportunity, and I think that's ultimately what we're achieving. What are your sort of short and long-term goals moving into 2018?
I think defending that Australian Championship is a huge motivation. We've won the first one, I guess, or the first one for me, and it looks very likely that we can put pretty much the same team on paper. So I think it's going to be another good battle with South Australia. So that's the biggest goal at the moment. I'm spending a lot of time on the track trying to prepare for that. Hopefully we can get some time with both Cam and Welsford in town. But other than that, I think I'm going to run a pretty similar program to what I ran this year, with spending some time in Europe and then definitely in the States. And there's a few other things locally, like I definitely try and defend the Criterium Championship and maybe try and win 3 road races in a row if I'm in town for it. So there's definitely a lot of things that keep me motivated, and that's what keeps me on my bike, is setting these goals. And whether I'm overseas or back home, I'm always looking forward to race and set another goal to try and achieve.
I know that a lot of people will say, we've heard words around, the winningness and that sort of stuff, and I know, you've had such a fantastic season. I really hope, that 2018 works out exactly the same for you, and you can just keep building on the form that you've got at the moment. And I really appreciate being an ambassador towards the Ring Series. If anyone has time to get out there and watch these guys race, it's absolutely fantastic. So, when you see the calibre of the riders that we've talked about, and Steve on the front there with a lap to go, it's pretty exciting stuff. So all the best, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday.
Thanks very much.